pulled up, made my appearance.
You
can't sit with us without clearance.
You need to know what it means when somebody says the opposite. All right, so check it out. If I told you that the opposite of -5 is something that you can add to it that will equal 0. What can I add to -5 that would equal to 0? +5. Cool. What is something I could add to 47 that would equal 0? All right, very good. -47. Now, somebody other than Carter this time. So based on what we just did, what definition would you give me? What is opposite? Ain't gonna be a definition. What does opposite mean? What do we do to find the opposite? If you look at what we did in the blank, what are we doing to find the opposite? If the opposite of -5 is +5, if the opposite of 47 is -47, what is opposite then? Ah, there you go. There you go. I see what you're saying. All right, I see what you're saying. The same space in opposite direction. All right, cool. So what about this, John? You saying this? What about that? John said if you go -5 on the number line, go +5, that's opposite. He's right. The distance don't change. The number don't change. The only thing we changed was the what? Was the sign. So the opposite just means change the sign. All right? Now, one thing you need to know when you do opposites, though, the answer is either 0 or we can say it cancels out. All right? You can say the answer is 0 or it cancels out. That's what happens when you have opposites. Either you're going to put a 0 or you're going to cancel them out. Now, let's talk about some other. So we got opposite down, change the sign. Let's go over another vocabulary we need. If you have a variable like K, all right, you can have a variable term like 2K. So looking at those two things, what is the difference between a variable and a variable term? Oh, I like that. Somebody said the variable is just a letter. But what's a variable term? Yeah, girl. Yeah. You got operation in there. All right. So when you have an operation, which is that multiplication, that 2 is the coefficient. All right. 2 is a coefficient. So a variable term has a coefficient and a variable. All right. So a variable is a part of a variable term. All right. A variable can be a part of a variable term. I'll say that. Okay. Now, but a variable can also be a variable term too. Because if I ask you what's the variable term for K is, there's a number in K that's not written. What's that number? 1. The 1 in front of that K. So K is a variable, but it also can be a variable term. So a variable can be both a variable term and a variable. But a variable term can't be nothing but a variable term. Two things are true. So if I ask you for -G, This can't be a variable and a variable term. It's one or the other. Is this a variable or a variable term? Why? It has a 1 in front, so that's negative 1g. That's why negative g is a variable term only. All right? But regular g, it could be a variable and a variable term. All right? Because it has a what in front of that g? A 1. It take a little bit to see that. But a variable can be both variable and variable term. But a variable term can't be a variable. It got a variable in it, but it can't be a variable. All right? So the last definition I need you to know. So we got coefficient. That's the number that's in front of the variable term. And the last one we need is a constant. And negative 12 is a constant. What's the difference between a constant and a coefficient? What's the difference?
One has variable.
One of them can stand by themselves. Constant standing by themselves. Coefficient got to be with somebody. Got to be with a variable. All right? We did all this before. I just wanted us to go back to make sure we have that information. All right? So the main 4 things we'll need, what we're doing now is opposite, variable, variable term, and constant. All right? Let's do it. All right, so when we go into our lesson, John, turn that down for me. That's you, John? Yeah, I figured that. I ain't had to look up. All right. Solving equations. All right. The goal for solving an equation is to find the unknown amount. All right, find the unknown. And what's the unknown symbol in a math statement? What math symbol represents an amount you don't know yet? Equal, we know. Variable, there you go. So we are trying to isolate the variable. That's what we're trying to do. And what does isolate mean? Single out. Get her by herself. She won't talk to you with her little ugly friends around. Got to get her by herself. All right? Now, or, or he, whatever. Now, I'm trying to grow. I'm trying to grow. You know what I'm saying? I kind of try to be inclusive, You know what I'm talking about? I'm old, man. I'm doing my thing. All right. Now, here we go. So solving equations, the goal is, so you're trying to isolate the variable. Now, what if, let me show you this. This is what a problem looks like. You get negative 2 times 3p minus 4 plus 1 is equal to 3 p minus 5. All right, we'll stop right there. Okay. So this is an equation. What in this problem in your mind lets us know that this is an equation? What gave it away? This bad boy right there gave it away. When you have an equation, you're trying to find out the value that makes this statement true. What value make one side equal the other side? All right? The way we do that is by isolating the variable. When you finish, you'll end up with an answer that tells you, well, P equals negative 2. Well, negative 3. All right? Now, when you give me that wrong answer, you should know it wrong before you turn it in, if that's what you got. The way you should know is that if P is truly the answer, when you plug it back in, both sides should be equal. Let me show what I mean. All right? So this problem is negative 2, 3 times negative 3 minus 4 plus 1. That's the left side. On the right side, we got 3 times negative 3 minus 5. Now, Let me pause for a minute. Who does not know where this -3 came from? You don't? Okay. When we did a problem, I gave you that P was -3. I gave it to you. Now, do you know why I put -3 right here? There you go. That's all I need you to say. That's right. I plugged it in everywhere I saw a P. Yes, ma'am.
So we have equations when we have a given number already.
You won't. I'm just saying, if you give me the answer at the end, you should know if it's right or wrong, because you can check it yourself. We about to do that now. All right? So if we had to do what's in parentheses, 3 times -3 is -9 minus 4. That's in parentheses. Then the 2, -2 is still waiting. -4 minus 4, -9 minus 4 is negative what? 13 times -2 is positive 26. Now, we right now, this side will be 26 too. All right? So you do it in parentheses first. -3 minus 5, right here, is -8. Then you bring down your 3. 3 times -8 is -24. Does 26 equal to -24? It does not. So this, you handed me in this wrong answer, and you could have checked it yourself, is what I'm saying. All right? All right. So remember, you can check your answer. If you tell me that you know the unknown, you can plug it back in to find out if you are indeed correct. All right? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to give you all 6 rules. For our test, we'll only do 3 of them will get us a C. Everything above that will get us more. I think that's how I'm doing it. So let's just get the rules out. All right. So if you want to solve linear equations, we got some steps we got to do. Step 1, which you don't have to worry about on this test, is to remove the fraction. So our test will not have fractions in the equation. All right. Step 2, remove parentheses. All right. You don't have to really worry about parentheses unless you want to do bonus. So we're not going to worry about 1, but step 2 you might see if you want the bonus. Remove parentheses by using distributive property. All right. You don't have to worry about that. Step 3, combine the what? There you go. Combine the like terms. Combine like terms. Now, when I say combine like terms, what I mean is that like terms they already own the same side. All right? So you got to have 2 variable terms on the same side or 2 constant terms on the same side in order to combine like terms. That's what I mean by that. All right? Now, step 4 is where your test will start. All right? So step 4. Step 4 says to gather the variable terms. All right. Let's talk about the word gather. If you at home and you got stuff everywhere and your mama say, gather your stuff, what does she mean? What she want you to do? Get it up, get it together, right? Get it in one area, get your stuff together. When you're dealing with equations, gather means get them all to the same side. All right? So, in order to gather the variable terms, I want you to put this on here. You gather the variable terms by, no, I won't say by. I'll just tell you what to do. Move VT, move variable terms, by adding the opposite. All right, we're going to talk about that this week. So you move the variable terms by adding the opposite. Step 5. Step 5. Once they've been gathered, the key word here is isolate. the variable term. Because you shouldn't have a 1 because you gather them. So isolate the variable term. To do that, you have to move the constant. All right, move the constant, CT. Move the constant term by adding the opposite. All right. So after you've gathered all your stuff, it's time to make sure that the variable term is on a whole side by itself. It got a whole side to itself. That's the next rule. All right. And then the last rule is step 6. This is when you isolate the variable. All right. Now you isolate the variable. You isolate the variable. That means you have to move the coefficient. By dividing by it. All right. So out of the 6 rules, it's 3 we'll look at for the test. It's 2. I think 2 of those rules will get you a C on the test. I think that's how it goes. But we'll focus on these 4, 5, and 6. So I won't even reference 1, 2, and 3 right now. All right. So here we go. I'll show you how to look at your rules and see if we need to attack it or not. Here we go. When I start teaching this stuff, I like to start teaching from the bottom up. Here we go. Come back. Okay. All right. Negative 3p is equal to 33. Okay. Above each term, I want you to tell me what kind of term it is. All right. Now I gave you it's 3 types. It's variables, variable terms, and constant. What is negative 3p? It is a variable term. Write VT above it. All right. And 33 is a what? It is a constant term. Okay, now, let's go through the rules. All right, I want you to do this for me. If you're learning, draw you some type of line to separate the problems into 2 parts. They can't see each other. So you got to keep them, they separate. They can't, it's like a 1 wall, I'm on this side, 33 on the other side. Now, remember, your goal is to get who by itself? P, that's your whole goal. Regular P, not negative P, I want regular P by itself. So if we go through the rules, this is what it looks like. Starting at step 4, it says gather the variable terms. Look at this problem. Do you have VTs on opposite sides? So you can't gather. The only way you can do rule 4 if you had a VT on this side and a VT on this side. Then you don't. So you can't gather. So we don't worry about step 4. Step 5, it says get the variable term on a side by itself. It says isolate the variable term. Get the variable term on the side by itself. Is the variable term already on the side by itself? So we can't do rule number 5. The last thing it says do, isolate the variable. Somebody real smart. Tell me who the variable is in this variable term. Well, all right, there you go. We got to get the P by itself. Now you identify that I know I need to get the P by itself. So this rule says move the what? But how do you move it? By dividing. So here we go. Don't do opposites. You divide by exactly what you see. So if that's a negative 3, divide means underline. There you go, negative 3. It can't see each other. So whatever you do on one side, you have to do to the other side. That's a property of equality. You have to do whatever you do to one side, you have to do to the other side. Now, anytime you divide by the same thing, it cancels out. Now, it don't mean 0. It actually means 1, but we cool. The 3's cancel, and you just left with P. All right? You can put 1P, but 1P and P, the same thing. Then, always bring down equal sign. And what's 33 divided by negative 3? Negative 11. You got the variable by itself. Now, let's make sure it's right. If we plug this in, Miss Kayla, with the pretty hair, -3 times -11 equals 33. Now look at this now. I want somebody, if you don't know where this -11 came from, I need you to ask me. If you don't know why I put negative in there, I need you to ask me. Because it's P. Yeah. So let's do it. What's -3 times -11? Positive 33. Does 33 equal 33, Kayla? Are they the same? Yeah. So you know you're right. You shouldn't turn a problem into me. You don't know if it's right. Plug it in to make sure both sides equal. All right, let's do it again. Let's do it again. Same type of deal. Let's do it again. All right. So the problem now is -56 equal to 8J. All right. -56 equal to 8J. Now, on your test, we just focus on 4, 5, and 6. Now, the bonus will be something else, but 4, 5, and 6. So you'll start at rule 4. Oh, let's go ahead and put our stuff at the top. What is -56? Out of those 3 vocabulary, what is -56? What is that? It is a constant term. If you don't know, practice that. If nothing else, y'all practice that to get this down pat. See, the constant term is just a number that's by itself. -56, 12, 54. Those are constant terms. If that's a constant term, what do we call 8J? It is a variable term. All right. Identifying what you got helps out a lot. Here we go. Step 4. It says gather the variable terms. Can we do that? We cannot. Why we can't gather the variable terms? We ain't got but one. We can't gather none. Mama already got my stuff. All right. Rule 2. It says isolate the variable term. Can we do rule 5? Can we isolate the variable term? Who over there with the variable term? Who's over there with the variable term? J is a part of the variable term. Variable term. So the variable term is already on the side by itself. Ain't that right, Brooklyn? It's already by itself. Now, the last step is isolate the variable. Now tell me, who is J? Oh, I'm sorry, who is the variable? J. That's who you got to get by itself. And the way you do it is by move the coefficient by doing what? Dividing by the coefficient. Who's the coefficient? Who's the coefficient? 8. I get so many students trying to divide by -56. Why? He ain't did nothing. You trying to get J by itself. So you divide by that coefficient. 8's cancel. J is equal to negative what? There you go. That's the end of the problem. You don't have to flip it around. -7 equals J. The same thing as J equals -7. Same thing. All right. So rule 6 always looks like that. It always looks like a variable term except from a constant term. You shouldn't be adding and subtracting when you see this. All right, let's move to the next step. Let's move to the next step. All right, here we go. Let's try this again. What if the problem was, man, better come back. W minus 46 equal to -4. All right, let's identify what we have in the problem. What is W? It's a variable. All right. And it also can be a variable term. Let's do this. When we first started off, go ahead and tell me variable term. All right. Let's just do that when we first started off. Variable term. Cool. All right. And then -46 is our what? Constant term, right? And -4 is also what? Constant term, right? Now let's split this bad boy in the middle. So we make sure we draw that wall there. Now let's start at rule 4. Rule 4 says gather your variable terms. Can you do rule 4? No. Gathering means you got variable terms on this side and variable terms on that side. That means you need to get them together. You don't have a one variable term, so you can't gather nothing. So we can't do rule 4. All right? So we move on. Rule 5. It says isolate the variable term. Can we do this one though? We can. What does isolate mean? Get it by itself. Who over there with the variable term? Well, say it right. What kind of 46? Say it right. There's a negative 46 on the same side of my variable term. So I have to move that 46. Don't mess with this one. I'm trying to get W by herself so she can talk to me. Don't put nobody else over here. I mean, back in the day. Anyway, now, if you're trying to move the 46, it tell you, once you know you're going to do rule 5, it says move, let me get this right here. It says move the constant term by doing what? How I say move a constant term? Add the opposite. That's okay. Back in the game. All right. So if you ever have to move a constant term, you only can move it by adding its opposite. There's no division when you're dealing with a constant term. So our constant term is negative 46. What's the opposite of a negative 46? Positive 46. Whatever you do to one side, you what? You do to the other side. All right. Now, you're not dividing, so you put a line underneath. And what we say in the calculator, what does this line mean? Put a plus sign. All right, here we go. W comes down because there's nothing below it, so W comes down. Remember, we said that anytime you add different opposites, they cancel out. We said that in the very beginning when we did opposite. Anytime you have two numbers that's different signs, either they cancel out or you write 0. But we're just going to cancel them out when we move them. All right? So W cancel out equal negative 4 plus 46 is a positive 42. Check me out. What's 42 minus 46? Should be negative 4 if you plug it back in. So you should know if you answer right before you do it. Before you turn it in, I would say. Can't do it before you do it. All right, let's keep going. Let's keep going. All right, let's do a nerd. Well, what you doing over there? I guess. All right, let's do another one. Remember, we focus on rule 4, 5, and 6. So if you have a problem that says negative 10 is equal to $17 plus V. All right. Split our problem up. Everywhere the equal sign go, that wall go. And let's identify the terms in this equation. What is negative 10? It is a constant term. What is 17? All right. And what is that V? When you first do it, call him a variable term. Although a variable term, he can also be a variable as well because there's a 1 there. So that's cool. We'll call him a variable term when we start. We'll try something different. Now, rule 4. Rule 4 says gather the variable terms. Can you gather the variable terms on this one? No. I only have one variable term, so I can't gather nothing. I can't gather. Rule 5. It says get the variable term by itself. Do we need to get the term, can we get variable term by itself? Can we do that step? Who we need to move then? There you go. And you only move to 17 by adding its opposite. So that's a positive 17, we need what? A negative 17. Whatever you do to one side, you do to the other side. All right, negative 10 plus negative 17. That's negative 27. Equal sign always comes down. Anytime you're adding different signs, same number of different signs, they cancel out. And the V comes down. The unknown amount is now known. V is negative 27, or negative 27 is V. Now, for practice, I have 6 problems I want you to do in class. And I want you to label what we got. I want you to label. I'm gonna put a T on that. Put a T on that variable term. All right. The first step, we're gonna call that regular letter a variable term. We'll do that. All right. That'll keep down confusion. You're only looking for, if you look at my instructions here, it says these steps only require 5 and 6. I'm telling you now, there's no. These are 6 I want you to do. So take a picture of these 6 right here.